There's a psychological concept known as the wild horse effect. It describes how a small disturbance can spiral into a major disruption, not because of the event itself, but because of the reaction it triggers. You know, like a wild horse startled by a minor stimulus, the mind can turn a tiny wound into overwhelming chaos. A small insult, a minor setback, or a brief moment of rejection can act as the initial wound. On its own, it may not be significant. But what follows is where the real impact is created. The overthinking. The mind begins to replay the event, to attach meaning, to exaggerate its importance, and to connect it to past experiences. What was once a small issue becomes a mental storm. Attention shifts away from what matters and becomes consumed by the reaction. The distraction is not caused by the wound. It is caused by the emotional amplification of it. You know, psychologically, this effect is linked to emotional reactivity and cognitive distortion. The brain is wired to detect threats, even small ones, and sometimes overestimate their importance. When a trigger activates unresolved emotions or even past experiences, the reaction becomes disproportionate. The mind starts creating a whole big event out of it, personalizing, or even overgeneralizing. This drains focus and energy. You know, learning emotional regulation, that is pausing, observing, and questioning the reaction. It reduces this amplification. It allows the brain to respond proportionally rather than impulsively. You know, spiritually, the wild horse represents the untamed mind. When awareness is low, the mind runs freely, driven by emotion and impulse. A small disturbance becomes an opportunity for chaos. But with awareness, you learn to observe without immediately reacting. The wound is acknowledged, but it is not allowed to control you. This creates inner stability. The horse is still powerful, but it is guided rather than uncontrolled. You know, in short, the wild horse effect shows that it is not the size of the wound that determines disruption, but the intensity of the reaction. You know, small events can become large distractions when amplified by unchecked emotion. By developing awareness and emotional regulation, you reduce unnecessary suffering and maintain clarity. The goal is not to eliminate reactions, but to keep them proportionate to reality. You know, my people, hail. Hail.